do it.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Video Game Losers Show here on VGLosers.com, part of the Pop Culture Network. As always, I am with Lord Killen, and I am Dirt, your co-host for the show today.
That's him.
I'm just going to keep talking, and he doesn't get to say anything for a while. How's that sound? Sounds good. All right. Let's just get right into the news, shall we? The news of this week having to do with video games. First up, Kotaku, the game blog, got news that the next Xbox will play Blu-ray. Will have the Kinect 2 built in. It's set to be 6 or 7 times more powerful than the current generation of Xboxes.
Whatever that means.
And one tiny other piece of news, they may not allow it to play used video games. How does that work?
Probably, I would guess, some kind of online activation, right?
Yeah, I don't... But what happens if you don't have internet? Like, if you refuse to connect to the internet?
Well, I mean, already everybody expects that you have internet now, so a year or two in the future, I'm pretty sure.
Is there any way to encode like a serial number on each hard code, like in the disc, that it would read and like tie to your live account? Maybe.
I don't, unless they got a new patent on something like that. I don't know of anything, or unless it smokes and blows up like it's some kind of spy movie.
Thank you for beating Halo 5. This disc will self-destruct in 30 seconds.
You may not share this. You may not gift it. You're definitely not going to sell it to a used store.
We'll bring that back up in the fan corner, I think. We'll discuss that a little bit. All right, next up. The Wii U is arriving this holiday season. The Wii U is announced as being launched in North America, Europe, Japan, and Australia before the end of the year. So this Christmas, if you want to buy yourself a Wii, there's no actual price listed as of yet, but most people are pretty sure it's going to cost a lot. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure they are going to test it out. Would you guys pay $600? No? No? Yes? Maybe? Okay. Have a $500? No? Yeah? Okay, we got 3 for $5.
I mean, the tablet, kind of like the specs in the tablet and everything, I'm expecting the tablet by itself to be $200, plus the hardware of the Wii U console.
It's going to be $4 to $5.
Yeah, it's got to be, I would say $399.95 is going to be the cheapest price I would see on that.
And that seems kind of
low.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would almost expect it to be more. But hopefully Nintendo can sell a lot of them because they are looking at a loss for this fiscal year. Their forecast, they've switched from what they thought might be a pretty nice profit for this fiscal year to now a loss of almost $1 billion. Right now they're looking at about $839 million. That may go up a little bit. 65 billion yen is what they're expecting to lose for the last year. They're saying just basically 3DS didn't take off like they thought it would. The Wii sales, of course, are down because everybody has one. And once you announce a new system, typically sales of the old system kind of drop off. So.
Well, Mario needs to go collect some more coins.
Yeah, they need to make a Super Mario Land 2 and Mario Kart 8 and Zelda Kart Extreme Racer.
Doesn't it seem like a loss of that much would be like, Nintendo is closed, but obviously not.
You know, most people, if they lose about $1 billion, that's pretty much the end of them. You know?
But Nintendo's like, well, we made like $40 billion on Mario last
year. Go crack open the vault. Swing the big wheel.
Go call Scrooge McDuck to swim through a vault and
pull out the gold coins.
The lost diamond of Mario Land.
All right, go grab a couple pounds of Cougarans. Let's sell them off and back in the business. All right. Speaking of big money, almost $1 billion, the state of California has to pay the ESA, the Entertainment Software Association, $950,000 over lawsuits with a California video game bill. California tried to pass a bill of, Senator Yee passed this, Democratic senator in California, tried to pass this that would ban the sale of M-rated games to children under 17, make it a law and a state crime. And the Entertainment Software Association fought that, went all the way to the Supreme Court, and they originally asked for $1.1 million in repayments, but state of California is like, no, we can't afford $1.1 million. So they dropped it down to $950 million.
Where's that money go?
What do you mean, where's it go?
Like, what loss do they take?
You mean, like, why do they have to be reimbursed that much money? For paying lawyers for taking the case to court to stop the law from going into effect.
Well, let me just say this. Really, do you really, Senator Yee?
Yee.
Do you want to see your fellow GameStop employees being pulled out of the stores in handcuffs because they sold Grand Theft Auto to some kids that came in? I mean, come on. That's ridiculous.
He is... he's got a PhD. And he's in the 8th Senate District, which covers San Francisco and San Mateo counties.
That's a ridiculous bill. Obviously, that had to fail.
Your Democratic senator from San Francisco.
I can see maybe a fine if they really want to be ridiculous about it, but sending somebody to jail, that's a little extreme. State prison? What are you here for? Selling them Xbox games, yo.
I killed a man to watch him die. What are you in for? Sold Grand Theft Auto to an 8-year-old. Oh, yeah, that was my kid. That was my kid. He loves that game.
Ooh, that's hardcore.
I mean, maybe something needs to be done, but I don't know. All right. Insomniac Games has said that they are done with the Resistance franchise. They did Resistance 1, 2, 3, and the PSP game, which I think was Retribution.
Finally.
That was called. They've said they've told the story that they wanted to tell. They think 3 games is enough. They're ready to move on. Of course, not wanting to burn out the franchise with Resistance, they've announced that they are going to work on Ratchet and Clank all for one. Because we need another Ratchet and Clank. I mean, I like the Ratchet and Clank games, but...
Well, after number 17, that's just not telling the story.
It's kind of getting that Crash Bandicoot Fat Elvis period here. Have you ever played Angry Birds?
I've watched my girl play it for... all her life now.
Well,
she got stuck on it.
Angry Birds is coming to Facebook. Like pretty much every social game, casual game, coming to Facebook on Valentine's Day. So, for those of you who can't get a date or don't have a sweetheart or just don't like the one you're with, I guess, you can now kill hours and hours and hours playing Angry Birds on Facebook. So now it's, let's see, it's on iOS, it's on Android, it's in the Chrome store. It's going to be on Facebook.
It's in toy format. It's going to be, what, we're going to get some kind of...
They have pencil erasers.
I'm sure...
They've got plush toys.
Is it like on Xbox Live or anything, you know?
You know, I don't know if it is. I don't think it's on any console yet, but I'm sure it'll be coming soon. Probably see it on Vita.
Yeah.
You know?
It'd have to be.
I'm surprised it's not on the DS. That seems like a good fit for that one, but... Alright. Netflix had previously announced that they were going to add video game rentals. Well, now that has dropped. When they had originally come up with the idea for Quickster, when they were going to split off their streaming and buy mail DVD services into 2 different companies, they had also toyed with the idea of doing mail order video games, something they were looking into because, you know, the only place really that does that is GameFly, and you know, there are a few smaller companies that are somewhat regional, but GameFly is the one that's big. That's basically, everyone calls it the Netflix of games. And so Netflix said, well, maybe we should get into that. Well, now they're saying that they won't. So,
yeah, it's a little late for that. Once they started GameFly and you were like, man, we should have done games. What's wrong with you, Steve?
But I think also because Redbox has it. Redbox is kind of eating into it too. And if Redbox has it, GameFly has it. They're probably squeezed out. There's no...
Well, I mean, if they can make it so you can stream the whole catalog of games like they do the movies.
Well, yeah,
online,
but that's the...
that'd be awesome.
What's that? The OnLive does that.
Yeah, whatever.
Well, anyway.
Who's got that, really?
And they said this year, Blizzard, no BlizzCon. For all you Blizzard fans this year.
That's harsh.
They're working hard on Diablo 3, Mists of Pandaria, and the Heart of the Swarm. They said, of course, they're also doing some work on Diablo and StarCraft and things like that. And because of all the work that they've taken on this year, they just cannot do a BlizzCon this year. But Blizzard hopes to have a BlizzCon next year. They still want to do the Battle.net tournament, but just not have the big convention that they have to do all the logistics for.
That's ridiculous. How can you do a major con and then just stop 1 year?
Like, we're just going to skip it for a year.
There's people who are probably like... at home crying right now.
I'm sure they could have turned to some of the people behind, like PAX or New York Comic Con, ReedPop, a company like that, and just say, hey, can you do this for a year, or do you want to get involved in this? You can help take us.
More importantly, you're really working hard on Diablo 3. You've only been promising that game for, like, I don't know, 15 years now.
It's not out yet?
Jeez.
I thought it was out. They have a comic book out already, but they don't have the game out yet?
I'm pretty sure that's not out yet.
Here, let's see. Diablo 3.
I may be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's not out
Diablo
yet.
3.
Because I would have bought it by now.
Diablo 3. Well, there's prices for it. Listed. Q1 2012. Just says early. Early 2012. It will be out early 2012. Which is now.
It's been on...
And it's not out yet.
Yeah, it's been on... They've been saying it's coming out next quarter for years. This is the longest drawn-out game of all time. It better be amazing.
What about StarCraft 2? Has that been...
Who cares?
About 20 billion Koreans.
That's all. Who cares?
All right. Well, that's going to do it for the news.
I never played it, but I just don't really care about StarCraft. It was fun back in the day. So I think of that.
All right, then. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and then when we come back, we're going to talk about some of the new releases coming this week.
Hello, all the people who like all things Pop Culture Network related. Why not head over there now, listen to a podcast I do with my good friend Alan Price, Operation Retroshock, or one I do by myself, Master Universe Chronicles. One of them will be up every Sunday, so head over there and listen. Thanks.
Ready.
That was ridiculous.
You're welcome.
What you just did there.
I'm making you wait. Sucko!
All right, everybody, we're back.
Are we?
We're back. Are you ready?
I don't know. I've had a really tough commercial break.
Really? What happened?
Yeah. I'm almost out of soda.
Oh, gamer fuel. Harsh.
I'm just having a really hard time.
All right, no one cares about your problems.
Oh, boo-hoo!
You are a terrible person. So we're gonna move on.
Hey, wait a minute.
We're gonna move on into this week's game releases. We got a couple here. There's some major ones actually releasing. Don't look at my list this week. So I'm gonna go through them as best we can, and hopefully this won't be too terrible. But let's try it out.
Won't be
See
too
if
terrible.
it fits. It's like OJ in the glove. All right. First up, we have Captain Morgan and the Golden Turtle.
Captain Morgan?
Morgaine. I'm sorry, Morgaine. Really? Doesn't matter. No one's gonna buy this. It's releasing on.
Wait, I don't know about that.
It's releasing on a PS3, PC, the DS, and the Wii. Now, this is a UK company, so you're not. It's supposed to release in the United States as well. I couldn't find anyone carrying it in the US, but everybody in the UK is definitely carrying this game. It's a point-and-click adventure. It's gonna be with Captain Morgaine and the Golden Turtle. Basically, a point-and-click adventure, side-scrolling. The story is based on Morgaine Castillo and how she becomes the first fearsome pirate captain. Okay, so kind of like some of those older PC point-and-click adventures. Yeah, that's what it is going to be. Problem is, it's a heavy UK game, and for some reason, no one here in the United States cares enough about this game, even though it's releasing in the US as well. So if you're in the UK, you're going to find this game. If you're here in the US, good luck. So there is that.
That kind of sucks.
See? Yeah.
I think I'd like to play that.
Well, hopefully I have some video of it, because I don't even know if I can find that. Up next, we have in the Go series, Undead Storm. This is a DS download game. You're going to spend about 200 points. It's a really cheap game. It's a very close resembling game of Super Smash TV. Same kind of concept, but zombies are attacking. So it reads that 6 months after a mysterious meteorite strike, the undead have woken and are taking over the city. You'll face wave after wave of killer zombies with only some serious firepower to protect you. Play solo or team up with your friends via the DS wireless communications and take the fight to the shuffling hordes. Solo zombie slayers can also find survivors to join them as allies. In the multiplayer mode, you can cooperate with up to 3 friends on their DS. And if you're looking at the video now as we're talking about this, this is like definitely like a Akari Warriors or a Smash Brothers
or Smash TV.
Smash TV. God, that game will get out of my head. And it's totally like a scrolling shooter, and you're just walking around killing zombies and monsters and taking weapons. Definitely worth 200 points. I mean, that's nothing. That's like $3. So you might want to get that. You need to pay attention. That's rude.
Well, I'm trying not to interrupt your flow.
All right. Up next for the 360, this is a Kinect game that you're going to be able to download. It's not going to be a physical release. It is Rhythm Party. Now, I know you're very into the dancing games.
You know, I love there's nothing more I love than playing a game like this.
Well, actually, that's kind of how you play this game. Okay, I'm going to read you the little synopsis. Rhythm Party is a rhythm action game developed exclusively for the Kinect on Xbox Live Arcade. Brought to you by the Dance Masters development team. It transforms your entire body into a controller. No need for... Sorry. So you're doing this, and you're making waves, okay? That's definitely how you play the game.
Right, but why would you want to?
Well, you just explained how you love to do that. What if you're the Wacky Inflatable Arm 2 man?
Yeah, you know, if
you
you're...
raise the roof or testify in church.
You know, if you are that guy. You know, I wonder what would happen if you took one of those and put it in front of a Kinect.
You would probably get, like, best score ever. I don't know.
He got the best score in Wiggle Wiggle Dance Revolution.
So, like I said, it's for the Kinect. You're going to get it off Xbox Live. I don't have a price for it. Couldn't figure it out. So it's probably
200 points.
I'm sure it's like a $10 to $20 game, but whatever. We'll move on. Okay, the next one is for the 3DS, and this is going to be a download off the eShop. Seems like all the games now are like downloads. But for $6.99, you're going to get Sakura Samurai Art of the Sword. Now, this is a game that's been ported over from a previously released Japanese title called Samurai Hiri Sakura. I don't know. I can't pronounce that.
What happened to your Japanese skills?
But this game lets players travel to ancient Japan and guide a young warrior as he battles waves of enemy soldiers to save a princess. Blah, blah, blah. Same story you heard 1,000 times. He must identify the enemy's attack moves, dodge it by hair, and counterattack with his own mystical sword to win a battle. Game launches in January, it says. So, end of the month.
Actually, it looks alright.
Yeah, it's kind of like a real simple
3D,
like, I'm trying to think of the samurai games that are out there. Kengo, maybe? But it's more of a cartoony...
Like Tenchu without the stealth.
Right. Now, it was a real popular game released in Japan, and that's why they decided, a year later now, to port it over to the U.S.
And it looks like there's a fair amount of exploring and things like that, not just battle, so...
Right, it's kind of like an action RPG style game, but the deal is it's, $7 on the eShop, and I don't know why they're not releasing these games in a physical format. It seems like they would sell, especially if they were cheap like that.
Maybe they're just trying to keep people from buying used games.
And that's why the developers keep putting in those Nazi zombies. There you go.
Wow.
All right. Now, here's a quick little update for all you Mac people out there. You're getting 2 titles this month.
What?
They're finally over on the Mac.
What?
All 6 of you are getting them. There's going to be BioShock 2.
Whoa.
And Tropico 3, the Gold Edition.
Whoa!
Now they're available for the Mac.
At least they're good games.
Yeah, well...
I mean, at least they're not getting,
I can't
pets
believe...
and babies.
I can't believe these games were released and they weren't Mac playable already. That's really weird to me. But, of course, who plays Mac, right?
Right. Well, Sweet Holic. That's the one guy.
Well,
the one guy.
Some people got to keep the dream alive.
Keeping it real.
All right, and we got another game here. There's another download off Xbox from the indie titles. Is called Race Dome Off-Road. And it is basically just a dome, like a stadium-style racing game. Real simple, real easy, nothing amazing about it. It's from a popular series that was released previously. But now, finally, since Xbox is pushing their indie game selection on the Xbox Live, they got a title. So, if you like racing...
Off-road, on dirt.
There you go.
Hey, wait a minute, what?
On you? Really?
Aww.
So there's that. Okay, up next we have Minor Wars 2.5D. Now, this is a PC game, and if you remember the old games like Descent,
oh yeah, okay.
This is basically you're in a you control a mining ship, and you're venturing through an underground layer of pathways and abandoned mines and asteroids and military bases, just places like that. And basically you're going around shooting each other, and you're drilling holes, tunneling where you want to go, and hiding and popping out.
And apparently it is available on the PlayStation Portable.
Well, whatever. It says PC, but and this is supposed to be a new update to this game because currently they have Minor Wars 2081. I think is what's currently out, and this will be an update to 2.5D. So I don't know. Looks kind of interesting. It looks like it'll be fun for like a LAN party or stuff like that. And if you like the spaceship kind of. It kind of reminds me of Sewer Shark. You remember that game for the?
I love Sewer Shark. I play that like every 6 months. I pull it out. It
kind of has that kind of like feel to it.
Turn and burn, rat breath. Love that game.
Okay, and we got 3 more games coming up, and these are all physical format, like major retail games. Okay.
All right.
All 3 of these games are on the PS3 and or 360 as well. First one we have is Never Dead. Never Dead. And this is an action RPG game. Are you gonna look it up?
I'm gonna look it up. Keep talking. Keep talking.
I'm just gonna read you what it has here. It says over 500 years have passed since the mortal named Bryce Boltzan endured a life-altering tragedy at the hands of Astoroth, the Demon King. Okay, but I'm just gonna stop this because this is like, who cares about the story? This is like a Devil May Cry meets Dynasty Warrior style game, like an action RPG, but it's got like a real weird, twisted, like storybook kind of theme going on here. Like a dark, kind of like Alice McGee. Can't even think what I'm thinking, but it's really weird. Anyways, that's the game.
The graphics on it look nice.
Yeah, it looks really nice, and like I said, if you were into Devil May Cry, this may be the game for you.
Comes out in the UK and Australia March 31st.
And, as you're watching the video I'm playing right now, from watching the trailer, it just seemed like it had a real weird, goofy style.
Like some of the stuff is kind of over the top.
Right.
The big monsters.
It looks,
and,
very Japanese.
And Troll Hunter. Troll.
So that game's coming out. It should be interesting. $59.95 full major release. Should be in all the stores. So yeah, pick that up. Next title we have is Final Fantasy 8-2.
No. 13?
13-2, I'm sorry. I was
like, Roman numerals.
That didn't seem right.
Roman numerals. Those things will kill you.
13-2. Wow, really?
Huh.
It's one of those days. 13-2. So the long-awaited sequel to 13 is now out.
And there is a demo available on PlayStation Network. So I don't know if it's on.
I don't know what a demo's going to do for you though.
Well, because they changed a bunch of stuff. A lot of people complained about the way certain actions were done and the way you dealt with character traits and whatever. So they made some changes. They put out a demo so you can try it out. So.
I gave up on Final Fantasy
I think 9 was the last one I may
9.
have played in depth.
I think 9. I just
a
little too much too often.
I mean, I played 10 a little bit, just didn't get into it, and
it's like one of those games you really have to dedicate time, and you got to remember things. And I'm not really good at reading things and remember them. I just want to play real quick and get off. And if I come back and a couple days later, I don't want to be like, what was I supposed to do again? I don't want that problem. So they're releasing this in 2 different formats. You're going to get the normal regular release for $60, and then they're going to have a collector's edition for $80. Now the collector's edition is going to have special packaging, including a 4-disc soundtrack, concept art book, and both those will be bounded into the casing. So I don't know, it's like a digipack kind of a thing.
Huh.
So for an extra $20, you're getting a soundtrack and an art book, which is definitely.
I mean, soundtracks are generally pretty nice.
Right, soundtracks 4 discs. That's definitely a $20 bill right there. The art book is close to 20, right? 15, $20. So you're getting a good deal there if you care enough to want to have those things in your collection. But if you're buying the game, you probably do.
Fair enough.
And finally, 5th in the series, Soul Calibur 5 is releasing.
Ooh.
If you can believe it, there's a 5th one.
Are there any special characters in Soul Calibur 5?
I didn't get to. I saw Soul Calibur and I was like, yep, there it is again. Soul Calibur.
What's the story of Soul Calibur? Do you remember? Isn't Soul Calibur isn't that the sword that they're all trying to get? And
I honestly have no idea. As ridiculous as that sounds, I didn't like Soul Calibur that much.
Really?
Yeah.
I remember playing a lot in the arcade. They had a machine for it in my dorm, and so I used to play it all the time in college.
I mean, I played the game. I just didn't care about the story or the concept behind it. I just wanted to fight. like a fighting game. I'm one of those people when I'm playing a fighting game, I'm just like smashing all the buttons. And it usually works for me, so, you know, that may be a bad concept, but learning moves is like, that's too much, I don't want to, that's too much practice. I don't want to invest my time to where I'm an expert at a fighting game that
do a bunch of
no one
combos
cares
and
about.
stuff.
Yeah. So I could be that guy at the arcade playing, like, just totally whooping you down, and he's just looking like, man, it's no big deal. Like, I do this all the time. Smashing noobs, you know? Whatever.
Noobs.
But there it is. Those are your game releases. And I'm just going to throw everything on the ground every time. Go ahead and throw that off the ground too.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and then when we come back, it's time for the...
Fan corner.
That's right. We've got emails, we've got comments that were left on message boards and on the forums and stuff like that. So we will take a quick break, and then we'll be back. Hey guys, Dirt here. Don't forget to check out the news desk every Saturday on the Pop Culture Network. We're going to be talking about this week's releases of toys. If you want to know all the toy news of everything that's going on, that's ever been worthwhile, that's ever worth a penny of your hard-earned money, you're going to check out the news desk, popculturenetwork.com. Every Saturday, make sure you check it out. Hey everybody, welcome back to Wiggle Wiggle Dance Revolution here on VGLosers.com. Part of the Pop Culture Network. The Video Game Losers Show with... That's your cue. That's me.
Are you pointing at me?
With
your Lord Killen.
And I, of course, am co-host Dirt. Alright, Fan Corner time. We're going to discuss some of the things you guys are talking about. But one thing I wanted to kick off with here before we get too deep in those questions, I want to go back to the announcement about the new Xbox. Since you are the owner of a store that sells used video games, what do you think of Microsoft and this rumor here that they're trying to create a system that will block used games on the console?
This is definitely going to be a problem for people out there who are... Like, I justify buying a brand new game for $60 that I'll play it right now because I really want to play the game, and then once I beat it and destroy it, I have at least a 50% like value retainer that I can get rid of and still recover. So to me, a new game really only costs me $30 because I'm either going to trade that game off or sell it. I should reclaim at least 50% of the net back to me so I can, you know, take that money and combine it with some more to get another game. If they take that away completely, there's no way that I'm going to pay $60 for a new game.
Right. I was going to say the one thing that I think of is if I'm fine with that if the game prices are low enough. Like I buy a lot of games on Steam, but I don't buy any game on Steam that's more than $10, and $10 is really kind of pushing it. You know.
That's true.
But if games are coming out and they're going to be, you can't resell the copy and you can't buy a used copy and play it. It's got to be no more than $29.95 if I'm buying a physical copy. And if it's going to be digital download only, no more than $20 for a new release. Because it just... Because
what's the point of giving a physical format? They're going to make it like that.
Right. Well, and I kind of agree with you on the idea that, when you buy it, you kind of think if I don't like it or I finish it kind of quickly, there's kind of that recouping some of the cost. But I also like collecting games. So I like buying... Like, I don't buy used games, from anywhere unless it's got the case and the book. I don't buy just the disc or just the disc inside the box. I got to have everything with it because I collect them. I like having them on the shelf. I like, and maybe that's just the comic collector and me being weird, but I like having that stuff. And so if it's going to be digital download only, it's got to be cheaper because I'm not getting that stuff. I consider that a little bit part of the extra. And again, going back to if I can't resell it, if I don't like it, then I'm less likely to take a risk on a title. And games, right now, I don't, only maybe 5 or 6 games I've paid $60 for. This generation of games. I wait until things go on sale, and that's when I buy them.
Yeah, I bought them maybe 2 or 3 this year at full price, and every time I still was like, I was like, I gotta have it.
It just doesn't seem worth it compared to some of the other entertainment options, and I think that's a problem with the industry right now. All right. Let's go to the message boards. If you go to popculturenetwork.com, join the forum. You can go down to the video game section. You can find the Video Game Losers Show area, and there is a thread for Fan Corner questions. First up, this is from the Burger General. Greetings, General. He says, "Hey guys, I really enjoy the show. You two are a great team." Okay, so he's a liar right now. We can tell right there.
Well, we're a team.
I'm sure you both spent plenty of times in arcades in your younger years. So my question is, which arcade cabinet was your favorite? Or even better, do you remember a particular time when a certain cabinet ate a ton of your coin because you just couldn't advance any further?
Well, I got two memories of arcade games that stick with me. Both come from a bowling alley that was by where I lived when I was a kid. And I used to walk to school, and every day I walk home I had to walk by this bowling alley. And the way the bowling alley was, there was a side door here, and there's an outdoor this way, and I had to go that way. So I always walked through the bowling alley to get through the building instead of walking around it. And that allowed me to go look at the arcade. And by the way, there was the Pieces Candy Shop right next door,
Oh, that's nice.
So I was able to do the Pieces Candy Shop and then go through the bowling alley to the arcade every day on the way home from school. And I always tried to find as many quarters as I could. And the two games that were going on were, they had Magic Sword, if you remember that game. Wow. It's a side-scrolling, like Conan the Barbarian style game that you are constantly going higher in levels through a tower. And you're getting keys and stuff like that. It was a non.
Oh, it's kind of like Castlevania a little bit.
Yeah, kind of, but it was just straight, left to right, and you were constantly going up the stairs. You're getting the key, and you're going up to the next floor, and the next floor, and the next floor. It was an amazing game. I mean, it was like, even to this day, I love playing this game. I must have spent. I probably could have bought the machine as many quarters as I put into that thing. And, I only had 3 quarters at a time maybe, so I could only get, so far. And it was always, you put your last quarter in, you die, and you're like, continue. And it's like, push the button, and it starts to counter back up. And I would sit there and, like, restart it, hoping somebody would just get pity on me and give me a quarter so I can continue on. So that game I could never complete until, years later I went and bought the machine and actually beat it.
Yeah, because you sold arcade games for a while.
So that was my very first arcade game that I bought, was that machine. And it was just so I could finally play it completely and beat it. And then once I conquered it, I got rid of it. But that was a great machine. Now the other one that was a big deal was Mortal Kombat. It had just came out. It was in the arcade form first before it made over to consoles. So I remember watching a guy play it, and then somehow this guy, on the first day, knew all the fatalities, which, come on. Come on, really? So he's playing the game like he was, like he worked for the company Midway, and he was the guy.
The shill coming around.
He was coming around showing how amazing this game was. Like, he definitely was a plant, right? And he was showing, just doing all these fatalities, and I was like, wow, blood in an arcade machine, look at that. It's so graphic and real looking. And now looking back at the game, it looks terrible.
Right, but
at the time, it really blew my mind, and I would just sit there and stare at it,
So you didn't play them really as a little kid, though?
I mean, I probably played like Pac-Man and Galaga, stuff like that, because I do remember playing those games. But those are the two games I remember very clearly of playing and wanting to play and constantly playing.
See, of course, I always loved playing Tron. We used to go to Six Flags.
I never got that game in arcade form.
Six Flags, Mid-America? No, Great America. Mid-America. What's the one in St. Louis? Mid-America.
Yes.
We used to go to Six Flags Mid-America, and they used to have in the Dixieland area, looks like the 1920s, they had an arcade there, and they had the stand-up environmental cabinet for Tron. So you'd go in and it had the black lights in there, made everything glow, and had the surround sound speakers and everything. They had Tron, and they had discs of Tron. And we would go to Six Flags, and of course, my sister wants to ride the roller coasters, and my mom wants to go on the boat ride and the drive the little cars and everything. And I was like, I want to go play Tron. And they were like, no, we're here for the rides. I'm like, but I want to play this game. And I would legitimately go with $5 or $10 in quarters. Just big pockets full of quarters, and I would sit and play that game for hour, 2 hours at a time before my parents would, they'd be like, okay, we're going to go over here and ride the log flume, we're going to get in line, it's going to be a while, you sure you're going to be okay? And I'd be like, yep, I'm here, and I would not leave that arcade.
I remember playing Tron several times in my life at the arcade machine and going, I have no idea what I'm doing in this game. I'm just turning around, shooting, pew, 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 and I die. I'm like, yep. No idea what I'm supposed to do. So that was the most terrible game.
No, just because you're stupid. You can't figure out how to play a video game.
I mean, it must have been beyond me or something. I think I was just like, I don't even understand this controller. I don't know what I'm doing. I have.
You're like, oh, there's a thing that spins. You're probably just sitting there going. Whoosh,
yeah, I know nothing about Tron itself. You know, so
terrible.
Yeah, terrible.
Wasted childhood on your part. And then the other big game I remember playing a lot was a game called Wizard of War, and it was one of the early video games. It was very basic, black screen with some colored sprites on it. And the big thing about it is it had a voice chip in the box. So you'd be playing the game, and when the big bad guy would come out, you would hear the machine go, "Wizard of War," and like that was amazing. That was incredible.
Yeah,
His voice
I do
coming out
remember
of this.
seeing those games.
And I remember playing the heck out of that. My grandpa lived in a small town up by Macomb, and there was a little pizza place, and that was like the only arcade game they had. Like that was the only piece of technology newer than a color television set in this town was that coin-op. And so, again, go to visit him, and it's like the first thing I wanted to do is like, well, let's go get pizza, and then I'd sit there and just want to play that game the whole time. But I was an arcade kid growing up. Every time, my parents loved to travel. They wanted to take vacations. Once a month, they wanted to go Southern Illinois, go to Kentucky, go to wherever. Anytime we went on a trip, I always, if we stopped at a mall, I wanted to play games. If we were at a hotel, I'd look for the game room. If we were at a restaurant, I'd always try to get them to go to a pizza place because 9 out of 10 pizza places have arcade games. That's just how it works.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely did that I still do that to this day. If there's any place that has somewhat of an arcade. But you know what? I'm like an arcade snob now. Because if I walk through an arcade and I see a bunch of redemption machines, I'm like, nope.
Yeah, I don't like the
Family
fuzzy
fun,
animals and stuff like that.
But I remember because we travel a lot, and in a lot of places we go, we always stop and look at the game rooms. And I just remember walking through them so fast, going, "This is ridiculous." Because even going to like a Dave and Buster's anymore, I'm like, this place is dumb.
See, we had Aladdin's Castle here in town growing up. And that was, all arcade machines, wall-to-wall arcade machines. And I remember playing Star Wars, the arcade game in there. I remember playing Akari Warriors, Xenophobe, Zybots, 720.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I remember playing that one. Paperboy. I remember playing a lot of Paperboy because it had the grips, and I loved having the grips. I remember the original Punch-Out, where you grabbed the things and you were doing the punch. It had the second TV screen so people could watch while you were sitting there playing. Talk about bowling alleys. The bowling alley by my house was the first place I ever saw the Neo Geo system, the SNK arcade.
Oh, that's a great
Player's
system.
Choice 8 or whatever it was called, and they had
that's
a bunch. No, Nintendo had the Player's Choice, right? But the SNK was set up with they had 5 or 6 different games in there you could choose from, and you could actually plug in your headphones and listen to the music through your headphones. If you had the memory card, you could save it on there. That was really, really good experience.
Through buying and selling arcade machines, Neo Geo games were always my favorite. And every time I was buying these machines, if I saw a Neo Geo machine, I bought it because they had the multi cartridge, and they're actually like big Super Nintendo cartridges. I mean, they're huge, but they plug into a board inside the machine, and that's basically all it is. It's like a big old glorified Super Nintendo. And the great thing about it is I loved almost every single one of their games. There was never a terrible game.
Yeah, I mean, there may have been genres you didn't like as much. Like, there was a tank combat simulator. There was Sly Spy, first-person spy game. Of course, all the fighting games and stuff like that. And there may have been some you didn't like as much.
World Heroes. And then there was Samurai Showdown, which was the big title.
Metal Slug.
Oh, God, Metal Slug was amazing.
And, yeah, I remember playing a bunch of those. But the one thing I miss the most about arcades actually is pinball. It's so hard to find pinball machines anymore.
I like the hybrid machines that are half video.
Like Pac-Man Jr. had the screen up top, and then
the game I remember playing the most was what's Danny Glover and Mel Gibson?
Not 48 Hours.
No. The cops.
Yeah, I know. I'm too old for this.
I can't think of the name.
Lethal Weapon.
Lethal Weapon. They had a Lethal Weapon 3 machine that had a gun handle.
Oh yeah, to shoot the ball.
And you had to shoot the guys on the screen sometimes in the middle. That was like the most amazing machine to me. I remember seeing that one in the arcade when I was growing up too, and I always played that thing because it was just I can't believe there's a gun handle, and oh my God, look, I'm stopping for a second, shooting some people on the screen.
So is that your favorite pinball?
I would say, no, not my favorite, but it's the one I remember the most. I think my favorite would be the Addams Family, I think.
I was just going to say Addams Family. I have two that I always think of when I think of pinball that I have fond memories of. One is Addams Family. Mm-hmm. That was in the basement of my dorm room. The basement of my dorm they had a game room that had Addams Family. I used to play that all the time. And then two, there was a game called Whirlwind, all based around the idea of a tornado.
Yep.
And it had a spinning plate in the middle.
Right.
And if you would hit the right targets, it would make that thing spin and add a little extra something to the game. And there was also a fan at the top.
Yeah, it would blow at you.
Yeah, and the first time I played it, I didn't realize there was a fan up there, so I'd be playing, and they'd go, uh-oh, the wind's picking up, and all of a sudden I'd feel this breeze, and I'd be like, what the hell? Like, that's spooky. And it took me a while to realize, oh, there's a fan right there blowing on me. But Whirlwind is one of those that if I could, it's on the Pinball's Greatest Hits. Mm-hmm. They have two of those. One is the Gottlieb and one's the Williams. I think it's on the Williams. And I ended up buying that on the PS2, on the Wii, and on the PSP.
That's just not the same, though.
It's not the same, but that's the only way I can still play it, But, I mean, if I could find pinball, like if someone actually, like I could find pinball machines that were relatively cheap.
They're the most expensive.
I know, that's part of the problem. And I think that's part of the reason why they're not around much anymore, because there was so much cost in repair and upkeep that they're just, almost impossible to keep track of.
New pinball machines, now that they have all the electronics and screens, typically cost about $3,000 to $5,000 per machine. And that's a lot in consideration when most arcade machines are about $1,000, to $500 to $1,000 in cost for an operator. So and plus if your machine was ever to break down, the parts are just insanely high, and there's so many moving parts in those machines that they're easily broken. They're just a pain in the butt.
Now, one thing I want to add is a couple years ago I got some CDs called Arcade Ambiance, and they've made them available as a free download now. If you look for the Arcade Ambiance Project, just do a search in Google or Bing or Yahoo or whatever the heck you use. They've got Arcade Ambiance for 81, 83, 86, and 92. And basically what they did is they took games that came out that year, like 100 different games or whatever, and they put all the sound effects into this program. And the program made this sound file that sounded like you were in an arcade. So you can play this file and it will sound as if you're walking through the arcade, and you hear different games kind of get louder and they get softer as you're moving through. And it is literally the sound of all these different arcade games, and it's what an arcade sounded like back in that day and time. And so I love those. I love listening to those, putting them in and just listening to them. They are fantastic. So go download those from the Arcade Ambiance Project. Especially, I know a lot of younger people out there who love video games. Like they wonder what was an arcade like. They were never around when arcades were really open. The only arcades they know of are like the front half of Chuck E. Cheese.
So there's like Wayfire or what?
Those are you can
you just download them right off the site.
Yeah.
Okay, well then you're listening to them right now as I'm playing them.
I'm not sure what format they're in.
Well, I'm playing them right now.
It's MP3s. They're MP3s.
You're listening to them right now. Send me that link, by the way.
Actually,
now you're listening to them. How amazing does this sound? I'm pretty sure I would want to play this in a store now.
Just have it
constantly playing. Freak people out.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah.
I really like it. All right. Next question. This one comes from Yoda Soup on the boards.
Delicious.
Hey guys, I know I'm a bit late to the game, but what console would you recommend for me to buy? PS3 or 360? I already have a Wii, and I'm looking to get some games that are not available for it. February 29th can't come soon enough. February 29th. February 29th. Tron Day! February 29th.
Is that when everybody's going to play that terrible game?
All right, so PS3 or 360?
That's a debate that...
Well, one, do you like watching high-definition movies? Do you have a high-def TV? Do you want to watch Blu-rays? I mean, that is a great added bonus. I mean, I know that's not games, but that is a great bonus to the system. And streaming the media and watching Blu-rays on it is actually probably 50 to 60% of what I actually use the PS3 for.
And
it's a media
and
box.
the fact that it had Wi-Fi built in off the gate, that was pretty.
It is ingenious.
Yeah, that was smart.
But honestly, I think it comes down to which games you want to play. I think the PS3 is skewed more for adventure games, whereas the 360 is skewed more for shooters.
And sports.
I personally, I like Uncharted and Metal Gear and games like that. So I love my PS3 and I tend to play it more. If you're into more of like Gears of War and Halo, you like the first-person shooters and things like that, then really, I think 360 is the one you want to get.
Yeah, and also, if the game's on both systems, if you like to play it online, 360 is usually a better...
Well, wait, here's the thing you have to remember. You can play it online for free on the PlayStation 3, and if you just want to hop in and play online, then it's great. But if you want to build a clan with your friends, you want to set up invites, you want to set up game times, you want to do a whole lot more of the social gaming experience.
Yeah, like if you're an online gamer, you're going to want the 360.
Right. And see, me personally, I hate other people. I don't do online that much, and if I do, it's just kind of hop in, shoot some people, play for a while, and leave.
Well, you seem so pleasant.
And so, yeah. Well, you know, I'm just a big, fuzzy, cuddly teddy bear.
Oh.
But
not to people.
But, I mean, I own both systems, but I went with the PlayStation 3
Yeah.
first. It was the one I was more excited for, and it's the one that I enjoy more. But there are games that are only on the 360 that I wanted to play, and 360 does have a great arcade, what do they call it? Game room, I think is what they call it, where you can actually build a multi-level arcade. You can buy the games for like, I don't know, some of them are like $4, some of them are like $10, but you buy old arcade games, Atari 2600 and Television, ColecoVision, and then actual arcade games, and you can lay them out in these different rooms, and then you can make your little avatar, walk around to the different games and play them, things like that. You can invite friends to come over and play them, and all sorts of neat stuff like that. So,
well, I have both systems too, and the problem I have with PS3 is the constant installing of the games before you get to play them. It's a little annoying. That's the biggest thing, and also for the cost of the games, the 360 versions always are cheaper. Like if you're buying used games, the 360
they go cheaper faster.
Right.
They're going to be the same
PS3s
price on the day they're released, but in 2 months, the 360 one's going to be
right,
cheaper.
and the PS3 versions are usually a little more expensive, and that's just, I think, mostly because there's more Xbox users than there are PS3.
I think there are more Xbox users who use the used game system.
So if you're going to be buying used games, 360. I mean, I play the 360 for games. I prefer them on the 360, but I do.
I also prefer the PlayStation gamepad. And I know a lot of people are going to be like, oh, what are you talking about? The 360 is the greatest. But I like having the sticks at the same spot with my thumbs because that's what I grew up on. And
See,
so that's what
I'm used to that now. So
I don't, because I hate, like, I don't know. Anyway.
It took a while to get used to, for sure, but now I prefer it that way. Now it's weird to do them like centered. Like now it feels like my hand's weird. You know.
Yeah. So that's the best we can tell you. I mean, really, the choice is yours. That's the best information we can give you. Although I would have to say, really, if you're gonna spend money on a game system, buy a Neo Geo Pocket Color. That's where it's at. That's what the kids are playing these days.
They got Metal Slug on it,
and that's what you want. All right. Next up, this is from The Rook. Yo, Dirt and Killen. Thanks for answering my question last video. You're welcome. Dirt, in your answer, how many consoles you own, you mentioned that you have 3 original Xboxes. The original Xbox was and still is notorious for being software modded to play games from older systems. What are your general thoughts on modding consoles like this? I know this type of console modding and emulation in general is sometimes a touchy subject.
Really? I don't care. I say mod away.
I think it kind of depends. I understand that.
No, wait. I own a store. Buy the game.
Well, you've had guys come in before and ask you, hey, can you mod the system so I can download games? And you're like, why would I help you do that? Because you're not going to be buying any.
Right. Well, to that point, because I am a retailer, I'm like, yeah, I don't like that. But personally, like, especially the older systems, like an Xbox is completely useless right now.
Right.
So if you mod it, now there's all kinds of amazing things you can do with it. Play the old games, emulators. And plus, people made a bunch of homebrew special games they made in their own house that are amazing. That you can play now using that system.
Well, the main thing, actually, that I use my original Xboxes for is I made the media extenders. So I have files on my desktop computer that are running through my home network, and I can watch them basically on any TV in the house because I've taken old Xboxes and turned them into Xbox media centers. And so I can, pull up my TV shows that I've recorded and movies that I've ripped onto my hard drives, and I can just stream them to, have my whole library right there. Also, the Xbox Media Centers that you can download and put onto your devices can do things like go out to movie trailer websites. So you can always have a library of movie trailers of upcoming movies, and you can kind of flip through every so often if you're thinking you might want to watch something, and watch a bunch of movie trailers, and that's something they have built in. So, I really enjoyed that.
You got these monster
boxes
sitting on top of your TVs.
Yep. And then occasionally, I'll put in a copy of Cell Damage or something like that and play it on the Xboxes. But that's the main thing I really actually use them for. Now, having said that, keep in mind, I enjoy extending the use of them, but, let's be honest. When someone's jailbreaking their PS3, it's not because they want to run Puppy Linux on it and build a Beowulf cluster so they can do CGI rendering. They're jailbreaking their PS3 so that they can pirate games. I mean, that's all it comes down to. No one's doing anything else but pirating games on their PS3, and that's the only reason why they're modding it. No one's turning it into a desktop workstation. No one's doing anything like that. All they want to do is pirate games. And that, that's your choice. You bought it, but at the same time, if you buy the machine and you mod it so that you can pirate games, I have no problem with Sony, if they detect that on your account, dropping you off of PlayStation Network, saying, sorry, no more updates for you, because you're obviously trying to pirate games. And I think that puts you in a little different category.
I pirate sometimes PC games, but the thing is, I do it because I don't know if I want to buy them or not. And then if I like the game, because generally if you're playing a pirated game, you lose the ability to play online and patch updates, stuff like that. So I'll play the game, and if I like it, I'll actually go out and buy the game and have the physical copy.
Right.
But sometimes if you play the game, you play for a couple hours, and you're like, this game sucks. Glad I didn't spend $60.
Well, and also with PC games, going back to the conversation we had before about PC versus console, there are a lot of times when I've gone out and bought physical copies of PC games that said they will work with my system and brought them home, and they were laggy and choppy and god-awful. Clive Barker's Jericho, I remember, was a huge nightmare. And I was well beyond every spec that they had, or suggested, not even the minimum, but the suggested system requirements. And I still had a horrible time getting that game to run correctly. And that was probably the first time I was like, you know what? When it comes to PC games, if I'm going to spend $50-$60 on a game, I'm going to make sure it works first. I'm not going to pay this money for a game that I might be able to play next time I upgrade my system. You know what I mean? So I think that it's a little different when you're talking about pirating games as opposed to using your system to, play Atari 2600 games, or put an Atari Jaguar emulator on there, or just going through some of that stuff, because you're playing around, it's a hobby thing, then you're just toying with it, and you're not doing what it was originally intended for, which I think is a pretty cool hack, as opposed to saying, I just want to play Uncharted 3 and I don't want to pay for it.
Well, yeah, if for older systems, it makes sense, it breathes life into them, you can use them again now, but for newer stuff, it's like, the way the systems are now with the able to download older games through their stores and stuff, it almost seems like not even worth the effort of damaging your system or being banned versus just paying a couple bucks they want for you to download whatever old game you're looking for.
Right. All right. And finally, last question is the second question from Yoda Soup. Dirt, do you get tan lines on your face in the summer? No, I don't go outside.
He doesn't go outside.
So, I don't. How do you get a tan? I'm not sure how that even works. Look at our pasty skin. Come on, look at this. We don't go outside.
This ain't from being outside.
What they need to do is make computer screens and TVs that put out a tiny bit of UV, not a lot, but just enough to, get a little crispiness going.
I hope not, because I'd be burnt. I'll be coming in here red as a lobster.
I'd kind of like to see that.
Because I spend a lot of time in front of those things, and I would be burnt.
All right, guys. Well, that's going to wrap it up for this week. Thanks for the questions to the fan corner. Gave us a lot to talk about. So we didn't have to come up with a topic this week. We could just chat. So if there's more you want to know, make sure you stop by popculturenetwork.com, join the forums, come down to the video game losers section, and just add some questions and comments in the thread there. We'll be sure to talk about them next week. Thanks for watching, everybody. Any final words before we leave?
And just to keep up with everybody, just so you know that if you post comments in our section for questions and just general things in the fan section in the on the forums at popculturenetwork.com, we are considering giving away T-shirts for the best, question or whatever topic we pick to use. From your suggestions, we'll send you a T-shirt.
Now, these are not Pop Culture Network shirts.
These are not. These are just random pop culture related shirts. Kind of like a T-Fury shirt, something like that. We're going to give them away randomly. They're going to be, probably extra large random shirts. We're just going to pull them at random and give them to you. If you want them, you can take them. If you don't, that's okay. But
give them to somebody else. Use them as a wash rag, whatever. But
starting next week, the best topic or
question
comment,
or
whatever we like the best out of everything that was posted, or if we actually use your question or comment as the topic, then we'll reward you with a shirt. So make sure you post and post often.
Yeah, pad your entries.
It's okay.
Make them good. There's 3 things I want to ask, so I'm going to make 3 different posts.
Hey, if you want that shirt, you're going to have to work for it.
Are we going to show them the shirt they're working for in advance or anything, or is it just totally going to be random?
No, I don't. They're in my car. I don't have to go get them.
So at least the first week will be random.
I think the first shirt we'll give away is one that says, "Get to the chopper." Because I know I have that one in my car for sure. Okay.
Well, there you go. If you're a fan of Arnold, then there's a T-shirt you can work for starting next week. So don't forget, if you want to send us an email, you can do it at killen@popculturenetwork.com or dirt@popculturenetwork.com. You can leave us a voicemail message. It's area code 217-953-4025. Try to keep them about 30 seconds, if you possibly can. And, of course, always, forums. If you're watching this on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. And thanks for watching, everybody.
And the like button.
And the like, yes, thumbs up.
Those actually do help us and promote us, so please do that. And if you can, if you're on Facebook, whatever, please do share the videos with everybody else.
If you're on Google+, if you're on Twitter, make sure to share.
I don't know why you would be, but if you're on
because Google Plus is better than Facebook.
That is a lie. Dirty lie.
Facebook is terrible.
Really?
Yes.
Whatever.
All right, guys, that's going to do it. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
Alright guys, thank you for watching our videos on the Pop Culture Network. We do hope that you will help support us by visiting shoppcn.com, where you'll find all these amazing toys, comic books, DVDs, video games, random geek goodness, all brought to you at an incredibly great price. Every dollar you spend helps contribute to the Pop Culture Network.